then in Bavaria, they also say things like 3/4 to. So 3/4
Yeah,
And that
the
means
Viertel zwei,
1:45. I'm like, what are you guys even doing right now? It's Expat Life Germany, the podcast about life in Germany as seen through the eyes of outsiders. And things are going to get back to normal for this podcast from this week. Maybe you haven't even noticed. But over the past few weeks, I've been doing one episode every 2 weeks. That's going to change. I'm going to be back to a weekly schedule starting from this episode. So new episode next week. My guest on this episode, his name is Jibran. He comes from Pakistan. As I mentioned earlier, he is a YouTuber who hosts the channel Desi in Wonderland. And his channel discusses or gives advice about many different things like getting a car license, buying a car in Germany, taxes, all kinds of things. He's got advice for many different kinds of things. So check out his YouTube channel. It's very cool. In our discussion, we decided to talk about the ways that Germany has changed us. And there are many ways, as it turns out. But what was interesting is as we got into the conversation, I was not only learning about how Jibran has been changed since living for 5 years in Germany, but also I learned a lot more about Pakistani culture. It's a great discussion. I think you'll have fun. Take a listen. Thank you for joining, Jibran.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So, Jibran, why don't we start off with you giving me a brief idea? I've mentioned that you come from Pakistan, but where in Pakistan do you come from originally?
I'm from very south. It's my city name is Karachi.
Okay.
It's a coastal area and it's very warm. Even in the winters, we have like 20 degrees centigrades. So right after my bachelor's, actually, I did my bachelor's, and right after my bachelor's, I applied here for the master's program in renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
And Freiburg was one of the cities which is like very famous for green energy. So yeah, I did my master's here, and then after that, right after my master's, where I wrote my thesis in the same company, I got my full-time job. So since 5 years, I'm here working.
Okay. And you also have a YouTube channel.
Yes, I have a small YouTube channel, and I made videos on different topics about Germany, like driving license, how to get your driving license, how to convert your driving license, student jobs, and some taxes. Yeah, some of the few things that are very important. Like, because the thing is, this kind of information is not available in English. Like, it's available still, but not everybody knows about it. So I just thought, like, for my community, I can start a YouTube channel, and everybody can benefit from it.
Yeah. I was quite amazed at the amount of knowledge you've got about these things, because I saw an episode that you did about insurance, I think, like what kinds of insurances you need, and you did the driver's license one. I think I saw how to buy a car on your channel. So there's a lot of good information there. Is that all the stuff that is that the stuff that you went through and you decided to YouTube?
Yeah. Until now, like all the things that I have uploaded, that they're my experiences. So I have on-hand experiences. So actually, when you have your own experience, it's better to explain that way. So.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. And I think it's a very informative channel, and I can highly recommend that people check it out because, like you said, it's good to have that stuff explained in English.
Yeah.
Jibran, one of the things that happens when you move to a foreign country, when you move, you don't realize how much that the country that you're moving to is probably going to change you, especially if you're there for an extended period of time. So what I thought would be a good thing to discuss with you, and especially since you've been here for 5 years now. So I think that gives the country enough time to potentially start changing your habits and start changing the ways. So I thought this would be a good topic to discuss with you, and basically to go through, has Germany changed you, and what the concrete ways and some examples of how it has changed? Because it's definitely changed me, and I'll give some examples as we go through our discussion as well. But would it be correct to say that Germany in this 5 years has had some kind of change on you?
Yes, definitely. Because like recently I've been to Pakistan last year, somewhere in December. I went to a shop, and then the shopkeeper actually said, like, we've talked a bit. And then after a while, he said, like, it's something odd in your behavior. Like, it's something like you're not from here. Like, I was wearing my cultural dress. I was speaking in my own language. I was not speaking Urdu, German still. So, but he kind of recognized that I am something, like I'm doing something, or maybe I'm speaking in a way that is not Pakistanish, maybe.
Yeah.
So he kind of recognized. So maybe then I realized that maybe Germany has changed me in these years, and people start recognizing this change. Even my old friends, like my friends, like from schools, they say that, yeah, Jibran, you have changed a lot.
Yeah. What do you think it was? Just to come back to that shop assistant. Did he give any clues as to what exactly what it was, or is it just a feeling that it's a general something generally is just not what he was expecting from someone who's from Pakistan?
He was like, actually, I was like more polite, I would say, and I was like,
wait, you got
like
politeness from Germans?
Yes, in a way, in a way. Like for us, okay, we have this culture of ordering such stuff. We order stuff like, okay, we don't say please do that. We just say do that. So maybe that's what he. So because I was saying like, please can you show this? Because I was buying clothes, so I was saying, please can you show this thing? Please can you show that? And thank you. Like these are the small words that I was using. Maybe that hinted him in a way that, okay, I'm not from here. Probably like not from here. He's like, I've spent some time outside.
Yeah. So that's interesting. What you're saying about in Pakistan that you don't really have please and thank you is. I guess that's just how you formulate the sentences. Are you more direct, or you just don't you don't find it necessary to use please and thank you?
We are actually we use it in a formal way. Like if you have if you're in offices or somewhere, like if you're talking to your boss or somebody elder, then you use these please, thank you, and sorry, and these kind of words, like polite words, I would say. But like if you have like once you know somebody and you're a friend, then you stop actually using these words, because like if you use this word, it means that you actually kind of have a distance with that person. If you don't use these words, then you have a good friendship with that person and anybody.
That's quite counterintuitive for someone, especially from someone who's coming from my culture, because even with your friends, like talking about my culture now, even with my friends, there would still be a certain level of politeness. I think my friends would look at it very strangely if I was sitting at a dinner table with them and I said, pass the salt, or give me that, give me the butter, or something like that. Because they would still expect me to say please and thank you. So what you're saying is, in Pakistan, when you have a level of familiarity with someone, you kind of drop those pleases and thank yous.
Yes. So actually, these are some of the things this was the first few of the things that I learned here. Like even if I've seen people talking to their kids and kids talking back to their parents that, please, Papa, can you do that for me? And please something and thank you. And like these are the small things that I've seen, I've experienced, and now I use them.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting point to me, because I have slightly opposite idea of the Germans. I see them as less polite than what South Africans are. So South Africans are, by definition, very polite people. There's a lot of pleases and thank yous, and even in the way that we formulate certain things, we would say, if we went to ask someone to do something, we'd say, maybe you want to consider doing that task that we spoke about. And what we're actually saying is, please do the task, but we're formulating in a very nice way. And the Germans don't do that. The Germans are very direct as well. They would say, bitte mach das, please do that. So for someone like me, coming from the culture that I'm coming from, I have a slightly different viewpoint as you. I see them as slightly more, or let's put it this way, I see them as less polite, actually.
But actually, what you're saying, I think is yes, it's not polite, but it's like direct. It's like whatever have they in mind, they just say it.
Yeah.
If they like it something, they said yes. If they don't like it, they said no.
Yes, and that's something that's changed with me. I've definitely become more direct. And what you were saying about your friends is the same thing I've experienced when I go back to visit family and friends in South Africa. More than one friend and family member has said to me, "Wow, you're very direct these days," or actually bordering on rude, I guess they would say.
Okay. Yeah. I have a similar story on this thing, like being direct, because in Pakistan, or like in the subcontinent countries like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, we have this courtesy. Like if somebody offers you something, you say no. Like even if you want it for the first time, you say no.
Really?
Yes, we have this weird culture thing. Like we said, like you don't have to show your eagerness that you want it just then and there.
So if you said yes straight away, like someone offers you something and you said yes straight away, what does it come across to them? Does that come across as rude?
It's not rude, I would say. It's not rude, but but the thing is, like, in order to counter that part, we actually in Pakistan, we offer something 3 times to a person, or 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Then in the end, he will say yes. So it's like kind of you are forcing somebody, but it's not about forcing. It's like you know that for the third or fourth time, he will say yes for sure.
That is so interesting. That is very
And
interesting.
there's one thing very interesting happened to me, and I've been to one friend's place in my first year, and she offered me if I want to have some drinks or anything. And because of this courtesy thing, I said no, even though I wanted it, but I said no. And the thing is, she was German, and I was there for like next 6 hours, and she
You won't
didn't ask
ask
me
again?
again. She didn't ask me again. Yes.
But
So at that moment, I remember like, okay, and every now when I want something, I will say yes.
you have to say yes the first time, yeah.
Yes. Now when I go back and somebody offers me something, like I said, I don't know, do you know about samosa? And like these are the snacks that
Yeah,
we
I know samosas, yeah.
So if you like, these are the common things when you go to some like somebody invites you, they actually offer you these samosas and stuff like that. So if somebody offers you samosa, it's just like, okay, yes, please. So I was like, not say like my guests don't have to force me 3 times. I will say yes,
Yes.
support.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Yeah, so that's a very good example. That's exactly what we're talking about when we're saying the effect that the country can have on you, and it's something that friends and family are sometimes the first to pick up, even before we know that things have changed. I've got a question, because one of the ways that Germany has changed me is coming from a country like South Africa. We don't have very cold winters. In Johannesburg, we had coolish winters, but it would get to maybe 10 degrees colder sometimes, but mostly during the winter it's between 10 and 20 degrees, somewhere around there, and blue skies and so on. So it's really nice weather, if you want to put it that way. I never used to think it was nice, but it's nice now. But the thing is, in South Africa, my attitude towards weather was, if it's raining outside, you generally avoid going outside. Or if it's cold, and by that I mean 10 degrees outside in the middle of winter, you generally didn't go outside unless you needed to go outside. And one of the things that's changed in Germany is my attitude towards weather. Because here, if it's raining, people still go out. They're still going on hikes. They're still doing things as if the weather was fine. They love the good weather, but even if the weather is really bad, and also in winter, it can be -3 outside and raining or snowing or whatever, and you'll still see people out walking their dogs, and that is really rubbed off on me now. Because whereas before I would just avoid the bad weather and stay indoors, now it's a case of I don't even notice it almost. I look outside, and if it's raining and cold, I'm like, oh, okay, I just got to put on a good rain jacket and take an umbrella, and then off I go, and then out I go. Is that something that you've also experienced? Because I think Pakistan is quite a warm country as well, isn't it?
The southern part.
The southern part, yeah.
Is quite hot, yeah. But it's actually the same for us. Like we have very less rainy days in a year. So whenever it rains, it's actually everybody make excuses. Okay, I don't want to go to school today. I don't want to go to work today. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
like, I don't know. So, and we also have some traditional dishes which are linked to rain actually.
Okay.
If it rains, we're going to make that, because it's like these dishes,
Or associated
I don't know,
with rain.
taste good to taste good in during rain. So yeah, we have this thing.
Like what's an example of food that you would eat in the rain when it's raining outside?
It's actually mostly fried stuff, like like pakoras and some how do you say? I think in English it's called gram flour, and you make some stuff with gram flour and put some potatoes in it and some other stuff.
Ground flour, you mean? Yeah,
Yeah, gram flour. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Do you miss that when it rains here in Germany? Do you miss having something
Yeah,
traditional?
but the thing, like last week, it has been raining every day, so
You've been missing that.
Yeah, sometimes I miss that, and then just make it myself. Yeah.
Okay.
There's also like this is actually the thing, like when it rains, like now I actually in Freiburg, it's a very small town, everybody rides a bike. So now when it's raining, even if it's snowing, I just ride bike
Yeah.
to my work and to everybody. So it's something that really changed me, because previously I was like, when I was in Pakistan, I'll just stay home, see the rain from my window and everything. But now like things doesn't stop here. Things just
carry on.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually this thing has changed as well for me, because when I came to the Pakistan, I also, like, in Pakistan I had my own motorbike and I just ride everywhere where I go. I just ride my bike, and because Karachi is very crowded, and also there's so much traffic there, and so
Yeah.
the best transportation is
Bike.
if you have a motorbike. Yes. So when I came here, I've been like. We can go from point A to B using U-Bahns and trams and everything. And the thing is, you actually walk a lot
Yes.
during this time.
Yeah.
And in my first year, actually, I think in 3 months, I lost like 6 kgs just by walking, because like I was so lazy and fat at that time. I just like get out of my home and just ride a bike and then go to the place. But over here, you have to go to the U-Bahn station, and then even in the U-Bahn, you have to, maybe sometimes you get a place, sometimes you don't, and you just stand there. So yeah, you do it a lot here. You just
Yes. But it is
use public transport.
It's a lot more active lifestyle here in Germany, and I don't know if the people here realize it, but it's very active. And even just going for a walk on the weekends, or people love to go, as they call it, spaziergehen, so going for a stroll. It's a thing that people do, and they love hiking as well, the Germans. So it's a very active lifestyle, and that's also, I find, with my wife and I as well, it's definitely something that's made us more active, and we just get out more. We just get out way more than I used to back in South Africa.
This is something has changed in me. Like previously, in Pakistan, when you ask somebody what are your hobbies, they usually say, I watch movies, I go to cinemas, and like cooking or sketching or maybe music stuff. But over here, when you ask somebody their hobby, they actually gonna tell you, okay, I like riding a bike or mountain biking or hiking or something. Like they will gonna tell you something which is like physical activity involved.
Yeah.
They will not gonna say, okay, I love sketching or something like that. They will always like, maybe they have that side as well, but as a hobby, if you ask somebody as a hobby, they will gonna always tell you some physical activity involved. So that's actually, for me, I like hiking. Freiburg is very good for hiking because we are surrounded by Black Forest.
Yeah.
So there are so many hiking opportunities. So in summer, that is my labeling thing, like my favorite hobby. I just, every weekend, or mostly every second weekend, I just go for hiking. And this is something that I've adopted from German culture.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So what other ways has Germany changed you?
I would say dinner at 7 p.m. So actually for us, we eat lunch around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m.
Okay.
And our dinner is around like 9 or 10-ish, something. 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.
That's late.
So yeah, but for us, like, actually we eat it when it's dark.
Okay.
So our usually our evenings, like, sun sets around like 7, or sometimes in summer 7:30 or something.
Right.
So that's why we just eat it after the dark. So when I came here in Germany and somebody invited me, like, we are gonna have dinner around, like, can you come around 6:30 or like 6:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I said, like, what? Like, when are we gonna eat? Like around 7. I said, no, it's too early. Like, I just had my lunch. So this is something which is like, now I was not used to it, but like for quite some time I have changed my routine, because for past 2 years I'm working. Everybody goes to lunch around 12, around noon. So when you eat at noon, then you definitely you are hungry around like 19.
Yeah.
So this is something that I've changed, and also like something for me, like as I said, we eat it when it's dark, but in summer over here, the sun sets around 9:30 or 10.
10 sometimes.
Yeah, it was something not common for me, but now I eat food around 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, because in South Africa we have very similar meal times as they have here in Germany. So
that was not a big change for you then?
Not a big change for me, no.
But it depends. Like, okay, do you guys have all warm meals?
Not necessarily, but the evening meal is generally warm, and that's what's different with Germans, is they like to have the Brotzeit in the evenings.
The Abendbrot.
The Abendbrot, the Abendbrot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, for us, like, all 3 meals are warm meals.
Oh, even breakfast?
Yes, even breakfast.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Everything is like, yeah.
But do you eat? How much bread do you eat in Pakistan? Is it similar to what Germans eat, or is there less bread in your diet?
Actually, our like we also eat broad, which is I think. Do you know naan and
Yes,
chapati?
I do. I do. I know. Yeah.
Yes, these are the actually common broads that we eat.
Okay. So,
But this is about the food thing. Sorry,
yeah.
just about the food thing. Like this is one thing which I liked about in Germany. Like lunchtime, if you're in office, everybody says Mahlzeit.
Yes, they do. So,
This is something like I would not say like I adopted this thing, but this is I like this word. Like everybody's
I don't.
chanting Mahlzeit, Mahlzeit, Mahlzeit.
I don't. I think it's because when I was at the first company that I worked at in Germany, it was mostly the older, more conservative Germans that would say Mahlzeit when it was lunchtime. So I kind of had this weird idea in my head that it was more of a conservative thing. But then
Okay.
the company that I'm working at now is quite a lot of young people, and everyone says Mahlzeit. So now I've finally adopted the Mahlzeit when it's Mahlzeit. I was like, okay, I'll say
Okay.
Mahlzeit. But it's quite funny that the Germans have a specific greeting to indicate when it's a mealtime.
Yes, yes, it's a meal time. Yes,
It is
it's like it's just forcing everybody. It's like, okay, go to lunch. Like this is the lunchtime.
Mahlzeit. Very interesting. One of the for me, another habit that I've changed in South Africa, when you're out, you're in your normal going out shoes, so sneakers or whatever. And when we come back home, we don't take them off. We just walk around the house in our normal shoes. And that's the way everyone does it. I think one or two of my friends back in South Africa used to they maybe had a nice carpet and they didn't want you walking on the carpet with shoes. We didn't even have a garderobe area or a place to hang up coats or put shoes. You would generally keep your shoes in your bedroom in South Africa. And now in Germany, coming here, that habit is completely changed for me. And it was very strange because everywhere I go, I have to either take house shoes to people's house or I walk around in socks in other people's houses, which is was very strange for me in the beginning. And even in my own apartment or my own house, I take off shoes and I have house shoes for the house. So this is a habit of mine that is hugely changed. It is very strange when I got here, but now I'm fully into it. I'm fully into the house shoes and not wearing outside shoes indoors. So I don't. How is it in Pakistan?
So this is something I guess like Germans and we are quite same because like for us even in Pakistan like we actually have our own house shoes which is only dedicated for house because because we are like like Pakistan is a Muslim country, so they kind of take care of if you have any dirty shoes which you are roaming around in the house and then they cannot pray in the house and this is like that. So that's why there is always like clean shoes for the house and you can wear them. Like for me in my house we have carpets, so that's why actually for us we have to take out our shoes and wear some I don't know socks. But yeah, we have this culture as well. Like we just have.
So that wasn't such a big change for you coming to Germany.
No, this was not a big change. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. And this is something that is interesting as well, is how the different cultures are impacted in different ways by the German culture. So that, for example, for you is not such a big change and maybe not something you even notice coming here because you're like, oh, that's very similar to what it is like at home. But I know a lot of the American cultures, Great Britain, South Africa, it is a simple thing like house shoes is a big change for us. It's a change in the way that we do our everyday life. So it's quite interesting how different cultures are impacted in different ways by the culture that's here.
But I have one question. Like, what happened? Like when you go to sleep? Like, do you just take out those shoes and just go to sleep, or is it?
Yeah, took them off and left them under the bed.
Okay. This is something new. If I go to South Africa, then I have to adapt to this habit, I guess.
Yeah, that would be an adjustment for you. What other examples you got of changes that Germany's brought about?
About the timings, like for us, like how you say the time.
Yeah.
Like if it is 12:55 or 12:50, I would say like if some Pakistani asks me the time, I will say 1.
Okay. You can't do that in Germany.
Yeah, you can't do that in Germany. Like if it is like 12:57, you have to say it's like 12:57.
Yeah.
You can't say just it's almost 1. Even the almost 1 is not acceptable. You have to say the exact timing.
You got to be precise, man. You got to be precise.
Yeah. Even in the like schools, like if you go to the German courses, they actually tell you how to tell the time. 5 past 2 or something like that. So
Yeah, but then they get really strange about it. I don't know how it is in Freiburg, but here in Bavaria, they have this way of saying the time. So it's already pretty confusing because we would say 1:30, but the Germans say the equivalent of 1:30.
2, I guess. Yes.
1:30, because it's half of the way to 2. So
Yes.
we say 1:30, they say 1:30. That is pretty confusing. But then in Bavaria, they also say things like 3/4 to. So 3/4.
Yeah.
And that
3/4
means
yeah.
1:45. I'm like, what are you guys even doing right now? What is
Yeah,
that?
yes. This is the big change. Yeah, but usually when somebody asks me about the time, I would just say like I don't use this dry fetal because this is something which is like I think quite regional. I
Yeah.
just say fetal for
Yeah,
zwei
exactly.
oder
They
fetal
understand
nach
that as
zwei
well.
oder
Yeah, they get it.
yeah.
Yeah. But you do have to be specific. I think I get that your culture is probably a little more relaxed about time. We are as well, but we would also, we would say if it's 12:53 and someone asks us for the time, we would say in South Africa it's 10:01. We wouldn't say 1:00 necessarily, but we would round it off. Or we would say it's 5:01. We wouldn't necessarily say 12:52 like the Germans expect. It's amazing they don't go into the seconds. 12:52 and 33 seconds.
That would be like okay.
I wouldn't be surprised,
53,
Jibran.
53, 54. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Could be.
The Germans, we do love them though. We do like them.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're okay. They're all right.
Yeah.
One of the other ways that I've changed is, but this might just be me. I don't know if this is a cultural thing. So this could just be me as a person that's changed here. But in South Africa, if you needed something done in the house, or if you needed paint, your house needed to be painted, you would generally pay to get someone to come in and do that. So we would have people come in and paint the house or paint the apartment, or if something had to be done in the garden, you would get gardeners in who would come and do that. And you would pay them for it. And a lot of the things that I had to do in South Africa, I just got people in. So I never really did anything DIY, like do-it-yourself stuff. I just didn't. But here, it's a very different culture because the guys here and even the women here just know their way around. Like they know how to fix things. They know how to fix roofs and they know how to do things in the garden and they know how to do this. And it amazed me when I got here that the culture is so kind of do-it-yourself culture. And it's made me have to change a bit. So I've had to learn a lot of things. And believe me, I am not a DIY guy. I am terrible at these things. But I've actually surprised myself when I had to do it. So like we moved into a house that had a garden pond. And because we had 2 small children at the time, we decided that we were going to get rid of the garden pond. So I had to figure out how to get the garden pond out and then fill it up with sand and then fill it up with grass. And it was such an amazing feeling of accomplishment afterwards that was something that I did. To the Germans, it was nothing. Like they do that. That was easy job for them. They're like, das ist einfach. That's simple.
That's just normal.
Yeah. But for me, I was like, oh my God, I just removed a garden pond and filled it up with sand and then planted grass. I have never done that in my life. That is the first time I've ever done that. And also painting apartments and houses. You just do it yourself here. So I don't know how that is in Pakistan compared to how it is in German.
Actually, yeah, that's the thing. That's the same as South Africa. Actually, we have a cheap labor in this stuff.
South Africa too.
I think, we can just pay somebody and they're gonna paint our whole house, and that's fine. Yeah. Like even I don't know about is it like a house culture over there, or is it apartment? Like over here in Germany, you rent apartment. Yeah. You don't rent a house.
In South Africa, it's a house culture.
So like house is a quite big thing. Yeah. You also have to paint it outside and inside, and then there are things, and then you just hire a guy and then or maybe like a company and they will gonna paint the whole thing. Yeah. But over here, even if there's a small room, you have to do it yourself because if you want to hire somebody, you can, but it will gonna cost you, I don't know, $100.
It costs so much money, and that's why I've ended up doing things on my own because it just costs so much money, and then you have to make plans for them to come. You have to take time off work while they're there, and it just becomes this huge thing of trying to get them. So eventually, I just said, like, you know what, I'll do the painting myself because it really is expensive, and we're the same. We have quite cheap labor in South Africa, people who are willing to work for not that much money, but it's not the case here.
So there are so many things I have done as well. Actually, as a student, I was doing this odd job, and there was once I did this gardening job as well. But it was not like I was going to do the whole thing. The guy was with me, and he was kind of like he just needed a second hand
Right.
to help him out. So it was like he was paying me 10 euros or 15 euros an hour, and yeah. So it was like this. It's not like he just completely handed over to me like you have to do everything.
Yeah.
He just said like, okay, I just needed a hand, like, and he was an old guy, and so even though he hired somebody, he was with that person, and actually he's doing more
Yes.
work than me.
That's the other thing. Because when I got people over to do some things that I couldn't do, I still had to help them. And in South Africa, you just wouldn't do that. I would pay the guy and I would go off and do whatever I need to do. But I actually helped like plaster one of my walls when he came. So it is a very different approach. And I'm just amazed at how much knowledge the Germans have about these kinds of things, because they just know, they know how to fix a wall or they know how to fix a roof. It amazes me that, like, where do they learn this stuff?
I think they learned it in Grundschule probably.
Yeah, probably. They probably do. But I guess they learn from their parents, because their parents are also doing the things themselves, and then they get the kids involved. So I guess it's a good way of learning how to do it.
Then there is one more thing which is I think changed me in a way. Like when I go to Pakistan, and if I have a paper or maybe a plastic wrapper or some, like ate a chocolate or something like that, and then there is a plastic wrapper or a Tetra Pak, then you're actually searching for the thing like, where's the plastic mul? Where's the papier mul? Like, oh, there is nothing. Like you just like in Pakistan we have all in one. So,
yeah, exactly.
But over here, you actually like whenever you have something, you actually first have to distinguish. Okay, what is it and where it should go?
Yep. It took me forever to learn what goes in the gelbe Zakke, or the yellow the yellow packets, and what goes in the what they call the Restmüll, which is kind of your normal garbage.
Organic. I think Restmüll is everything what doesn't go to organic, plastic, paper, and glass and electronic. So.
Yeah, but it's the same. I don't know if it's still the same in South Africa, because I've been gone for quite a while. But when I was there, it was also exactly the same thing. You just put everything in the same thing. So our normal bio waste would go in the same thing as where I would throw the batteries, dead batteries, or everything would just go in the same garbage can. That's definitely not the case here.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah, I must tell you about my village. The plastic garbage, let's put it that way. What do you want to call it? I don't know.
I think it's called gelbe Zakke.
Yeah, the gelbe Zakke. We don't have gelbe Zakke in our area. What has to happen is we collect all of the plastic stuff. We're not allowed to put it in our other garbage, but then we have to take it ourselves to what they call the Wertstoffhof.
Recyclehof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so you go there, and I live in a small village, so I know the woman who's working there. It's, she's kind of someone from the village that I've met a few times. And then I have to empty all of my plastic garbage out in front of her, and we have to go through it together, separating the different plastics. So the double P's go there and the triple P's. It is so awkward because, like, I don't want to put my garbage on someone that I know's table. Like, what are we doing here? It is so awkward.
This is something private.
Yeah, it's so private, and it's just that is just something that they did here. But thank God, from January 2020, they've given us a gelbe Tonne, like a bin for the plastic stuff, and starting from January, they're going to pick that stuff up, and that is the best news I have heard this year. When I heard that, I nearly did a dance around the kitchen. I was like, "This is the best."
One more thing I wanted to add, like in this, in Freiburg. Yeah. Like they're so green in a way that you pay this fund 25 cents for the
deposit
plastic bottles. Therefore, this deposit bottles. Yes. Yeah. In Freiburg, they have some cafes where you actually pay €1 for your plastic cup.
Yeah.
Coffee cup.
Yeah.
So you have to pay €1 for this fund. Like, so they don't have this plastic mold from the cups.
Yes. I think it's a great thing. I mean, because €1 is not something you would walk away from. You're gonna make sure that you take that back. So I think that's good. Is that kind of thing coming to Pakistan slowly but surely? Do you think?
Recently, I think they introduced this thing. There's no plastic bag policy thing.
Okay.
Which is adopted by some of the cities, not the whole Pakistan right now. I think only the capital, or maybe Karachi as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, like they actually wanted to do this as well, because we also have so much plastic waste, and we also want to get rid of it.
So that's
See?
so at least there's some steps going happening there. But here in Germany it's really next level what you're doing with the garbage.
So this is now something that has been integrated into my personality as well. Like whenever I get something in Pakistan as well, I look like where I should throw this thing. Like, one more thing which is very also changed me in a way that like in Pakistan we plan things very spontaneously. We just do stuff. Like if I have to do something, I just call the person and then things happen.
Yeah.
But over here you have to plan things ahead. You have to, if you have some friends, you have to tell them, I think 2 weeks in advance, okay, we're going to do something, or like we were going to meet and then something that happened. So over here, people actually plan way ahead in time. Like suppose if somebody is going on vacations next year, they're going to start planning from this year. Okay, how much budget are we going to, which flight are we going to take and how many days are we going to be? If I should inform my boss about it, or like, they just start planning things. And this is something that I have adopted as well. Like in December, I'm traveling to Pakistan, and I bought my ticket in September. So
look at you. You've changed.
Yes.
You've changed, Jibran. It's definitely changed me as well, because I was a very, very spontaneous person before I moved to Germany, and sometimes a little too spontaneous, even for South African culture. I would just be very chilled. And I think that's also one of the biggest ways that Germany's changed me, is it's made me a lot more structured. Even in my work that I do in my daily life, I'm way more structured in how I approach things compared to how I used to be. And I think Germans still look at me and say, wow, you're a completely disorganized, spontaneous or whatever kind of guy, but they don't realize how much I've actually moved into a more structured way of living. So that is maybe one of the biggest ways that Germany has changed me personally, is that it's definitely made me more less spontaneous in some ways, and more careful and thinking about the steps that I'm going to take to do something, for example.
More organized.
Yeah, more organized. More organized. But it was very great to talk to you about this, because a lot of the things that you say I can also relate to, and it's also very interesting how your own culture impacts how you change in the German culture. So it definitely has a different effect depending on who you're talking to and how you approach things. So yeah, it was a very good talk, Jibran, and I really appreciate you coming on and spending the time to go through some of these things.
Thank you, Sean, for inviting me. Actually, it was really fun to talk to, and also like actually I never met somebody from South Africa, and this was also
really
yes, actually I never met anybody from South Africa, and this is like, today I came to know also some cultures from South Africa, which is quite
it's
nice.
It's one of the things that I like about this podcast, actually, is the more people I speak to from different countries like Brazil or Italy or Pakistan and India and all these different places. Not only am I learning more about German culture and how other people see the German culture, but I'm also learning about the other cultures, other people's cultures that I had no idea about, things that I'm very ignorant about. I had a guy on from Romania who discussed the Romanian political system. It's just, I had no idea about all this stuff. So that's one of the things that I love about this podcast, is just getting a chance to talk about not only the German culture, but also how other cultures interact with that German culture. It's fascinating. It's really interesting stuff.
That's what integration, I think Germany is also focusing on this integration thing. So
yeah.
I think this is nice.
Yeah. So where can people find you, Jibran? You have the YouTube channel that we talked about. What is it called?
It's called Desi in Wonderland.
Okay. And I'll put the
Desi
link.
is actually...
Yeah.
Desi is actually, I can tell you a small story about it. Like Desi is actually all the people who are from South Asian side of Asia.
Okay.
South Asian side.
Okay.
They are called Desis. Like Desis. Indian, Pakistani, Bangladesh. You can say Desi food, Desi people, Desi dresses. Okay. So this is the word. So I am kind of like from that region. And I said Desi in Wonderland, so I'm in Wonderland right now.
Okay. So you're loving your time in Germany?
Yes.
That's great.
It's fun. It's nice.
Yeah. Can people find you on Instagram? Do you have...
Yes, it's the same username, Desi in Wonderland on Instagram. They can also have... I also have my page. If they have any queries about something, they can write me on that page or Instagram or on YouTube, anywhere. I always respond to people, and then, yeah.
Great. great. And I can highly recommend that people go and check out your YouTube channel. There's a lot of good content there as well for things that you almost certainly will have to deal with. Like I said in the beginning, some insurance stuff, things about cars, all kinds of things. So yeah, it's highly recommendable to go and check out Desi in Wonderland. I will put all of the links to where people can find you in the show notes. And we'll talk again. Thanks for coming on, Jibran.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. I will be back next week with some information about the freelance visa and what that means for people moving to Germany and what opportunities it'll open. So make sure you take a listen to that. That is coming up next week. I've got a lot of cool stuff coming up in December as well. I'm very excited about the shows in December, and just stay tuned. Subscribe to the podcast, and if you like it, rate it. Give it 5 stars. Give it 4 stars. I don't mind. But really, I mean, if I'm being honest, 5 stars. It's really, just hit a 5-star. Give me a 5-star review. Just do it. Just do it. What is it going to cost you? 2 minutes out of your day? You don't even have, what I learned is you don't even have to write a review. You just rate it with the stars. So say 5 stars and that's done. 5 seconds, 10 seconds maximum out of your day. 10 seconds, maybe 15. If you type a few characters, say, hey, great show, 30 seconds at the most. What are you losing? Nothing. All right, I've been talking too much crap here. It's time to get out. Auf Wiederhören.